Hi, Lila and Arjuna. I am going to read you a book called I Am Amelia Earhart. You can ask Tata who she is, but she's a pretty amazing woman. She is a pilot. She was the first female pilot. And maybe ask Opaote, maybe he knows more stuff about her. Okay. Oh, interesting. Guess what that says? That says, for Lila, my daughter, who makes me feel like I'm soaring. BM. BM stands for Brad Meltzer, who is the author. So his daughter's name is also Lila, but he probably pronounces it as Lila. Okay. Oh, and then I think the illustrator wrote, for Audrey, my life, my co-pilot, my hero. I am Amelia Earhart. When I was little, people told me that girls should wear dresses and play with dolls. They said we shouldn't have unladylike adventures. I didn't agree. Grandma's not going to like this, is what this little girl sang. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my sister and I decided to build our own roller coaster in our backyard. We placed 2 planks of wood up against the side of our tool shed. That's pretty funny, huh? Maybe you can make a tool shed with Tata. The cab was a wooden packing box with roller skate wheels attached to the bottom. We greased the wood with lard so we'd move super fast. So they would slide down really fast. See how they got wheels up there? They're gonna slide down that. Amelia, are you sure this is a good idea? That's by her brother. And Amelia. This isn't a good idea, it's the best idea. Of course, I got to ride first. This was my moment. Here we go in 3, 2. Like her sister's got her eyes closed and the brother's praying because he probably thinks she's gonna hurt herself pretty badly. I still remember the wind in my face. My stomach seemed to sink. Up in the air. I was flying. I think that's kind of why she wants to be a pilot at the end. Amelia Earhart, take it apart this instant, said her grandma. The crash was loud and noisy and messy. It certainly wasn't ladylike, but it was awesome. That's what she says. It was awesome. Lila, can you yell it? It was awesome. It wasn't the last time I would fly. As I got older, I went to many air shows. When I was 23 years old, that's not a kid anymore, but still a kid at heart, my dad took me to meet Frank Hawks, a man who would eventually set many of his own flight records. Are you ready? I'm ready. For $10, Hawks agreed to take me on my very first flight. $10 for a flight, you can't do that nowadays. For 10 minutes, we flew through the sky and out over the Pacific Ocean. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew one thing. I had to fly. She loved it. She loved to fly. To save for my flying lessons, I worked as a truck driver, which wasn't ladylike either. Move it, whack, she said. A stenographer, which is a fancy schmancy word for someone who writes down what people say. So she was a stenographer. So he would talk and she's writing it. Say snook, she said. And even a photographer. So she took pictures of some families. 6 months after I learned to fly, I bought a bright yellow used biplane that I named Canary. Canary is a cool name for a plane, right? Canaries are yellow birds, by the way, Lila. This is my instructor, a woman named Netta Snook. That's her real name. Oh, I guess she wasn't the first pilot since her teacher was a female pilot too. Here's my secret. I wasn't a natural. I wasn't the best pilot. I just worked harder than anyone else. So it's very important that you work hard. That's enough flying for today, the teacher said. No, I can do better. One more flight. Man, this is a long book. Most important, Like that day on the roller coaster, I dared to do what so many couldn't be done. What so many said couldn't be done. The journalist. A flying girl across the Atlantic? Amelia, you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. This is the best idea. I became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. And then the first woman to fly by myself across the Atlantic. Back then, people took boats to get to Europe, sailing for weeks. Planes were still a new thing. In fact, on the day I took off, one magazine ran an article that said women would never be able to fly that far. But I did. To do it, I had to fly for 14 hours and 56 minutes with no rest. So she couldn't pee. I mean, maybe she did, who knows? No breaks. Sometimes the sun was so blinding I could barely see where I was going. That's crazy. In the process, I also broke the record for crossing the ocean in the shortest time, doing it faster than any man or woman ever. What does she say? This is awesome. Pretty amazing human, not just a woman, an awesome human. Then I broke an altitude record, which is just a fancy schmancy way of saying I went higher than anyone else. How high did I go? About 12 Empire State Buildings straight up at a time when no woman had ever gone that high. What does she say here? In October 1922, I broke the women's altitude record by rising to 14,000 feet. And in July 1930, I set a speed record of over 181 miles per hour. Pretty amazing. In my life, I took many flights. The box that she made, remember? Every single time, there was someone who said that I wouldn't be able to do it. But she did it. So you can't get deterred by people saying you can't do stuff. You just got to do it. Never let anyone stop you. Whatever your dream is, chase it and work hard for it. You will find it. It is the best lesson I can give you. You got that, Lila? Don't ever give up. I am Amelia Earhart. I know no bounds. And I hope you'll remember that the greatest flight you'll ever take is the one that no one has ever tried before. Pretty cool. The end. Never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. Amelia Earhart. That's Amelia Earhart. That's her in real life. She's a pretty amazing woman. I hope you enjoyed it. Love you both.